Let's talk about incest. Now, if you already seen this video, which if you've seen the title of this video, I'm actually going to explain how incest relationships work. Yes, before I want to say, I do not condone this activity, but you can hear more about it later if I do explain about it. However, I just really want to explore this topic because this is actually really quite a very heavy taboo subject that has been going on for quite a while. It's been for a very long time. So I decided to say to myself, you know what? I'll try and explore this topic, discuss all about this. Yeah, this is definitely not a regret. Definitely not. So as you can see here, I'm going to be talking mostly about incest relationships. If you want to know more about the not so good part of incest relationship, aka incest related crimes, you can take a look at the video that I've done just right before. Links down in the description below. Anyhow, let us go on with this topic. I hope you will still continue listening by the end of this video. So first we have to discuss the main thing. What is incest relationships? Well, you always look at the pictures, you always look at the news, you always look at whatever stuff that you might know that is probably related to this, but in the very heart of it, the core, incest relationships are a sexual activity on humans that involves with people who are closely related to the person, like the families or the relatives itself. So your brother, sister, father, daughter, mother, son. It's a thing, apparently. It can also be included between affinity like step parents and also adopted children. So now let's discuss about the types of incest relationships. I don't want to go all of them. This is literally just a table that shows you all the different kinds of incest relationships. Yes, there's a lot, and if you want to, and also before I forgot about it, all these relationships can also include in some form of the infinity relationships and also like the adoptive relationships, like for example, father and adoptive son or mother and adopted sister. It's a thing, okay? So yeah, there's a lot of incest relationships. Please don't do all this. So now you might think, okay, how do these incest relationships occur? Well, most of the time it's usually occurs by three things: through sexual contact between both parties involved, also including in marriage and also in dating relationships. So yeah, if you wanna get some business down or hang out in the churches or just having a walk in the park with anyone related that you might have romantic feelings, that is considered incest relationships. But before I want to say, there's a clear difference between you respect and like your cousin, as in a family love or anything, and incest relationships is the romantic feelings. If you feel romantic feelings towards your anyone who's might be closely related to you, like a cousin or anything, yes, that is an incest relationship. So there's a clear fine difference before anyone gets confused. Now, if you take a look, how many cases of incest relationships are there today? Well, according to statistics reports, we can see about 10.4% of the world's population. That includes some form of incest relationships. That includes also in marriage, can also include also in dating relationships. Now, as we take a look already again in the types of incest relationships, there's also a whole lot of other stuff. There's also cousin marriages. There's actually really quite popular. So if we take a look at the highest cases of the of incest relationships from all the countries in the world, we take a look at two particular countries. So both of them are Muslim countries. I don't know why. Even though they're the most strictest, I'm not sure. But from what we can look, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan has reported to be having some of the highest cases of incest relationships. Now, most of it, from according to statistics, are a form of cousin marriages. So these form of cousin marriages are due to the tribal tradition in the rural areas where this is acceptable because that is history before that used to accept all these things. Definitely not now, but this is their traditions. So I cannot say anything more about this thing. Okay. Now, if we take a look at the effects of incest relationships, we can usually take at the physical side and also through the mental side. So in the physical side, we have this medical condition called inbreeding, which means through the birth of children that have genetical disorders and mental changes around the mind. Now, what does that mean? So basically, imagine you have a set of DNA, and a set of genes. So these set of DNA and genes were passed on through your mother and father. So you can have some good genes and you can also have some bad genes called recessive genes. So if, let's say, you married to a person who is not related to you, then most likely through the reproduction process, the baby would most likely take off both the father and mother's good genes and less likely to take the recessive genes. However, if, let's say, you get married to your cousin, for example, and you decided to have an offspring, so that baby would most likely might take in both the good effects, the good genes, but there is a high chance that they could take both the same recessive genes, because remember, you are both blood related. So those recessive genes might combine together in those baby, which might in return cause immune deficiencies, serious medical conditions towards the baby itself. Now explore more of these as we look furthermore into this video. Now on the mental side, we can see stress is also very inclusive in incest relationships, and that's because due to this taboo of it, many people are very afraid to speak up when they are in their incest relationships. So therefore, this stress can sometimes over time build into depression and unfortunately can also result in suicide in some cases. Very sad. Now, let's take a look at the history of incest relationships. Now, incest relationships go way back, a long time. Very, very long time. So if we can take a look at the early civilization years, in ancient Egypt, for example, the famous Egyptian pharaohess Cleopatra VII, she married to her two younger brothers, Ptolemy the 13th and Ptolemy the 19th. Now, if we can also take a look at ancient Greece, we can also see King Leonidas I, commander of the Greek troops during the Battle of Thermopylae. He is married to his cousin Giorgio. So if you can take a look at also religious texts, there's also cases of incest relationships that is also included in those religious texts. And the earliest one is in the Bible, where in the book of Jubilees, where it's reported that Cain is also married to the cousin Awan. Now, as we move on further, as we also take a look already, tribal traditions can also include with these incest relationships. Now, let's take a look at the early modern age. Now, the early modern age begins the rise of incest relationships among royalty, in particular, European monarchies. The most famous one of all is the House of Habsburgs, the rulers of Austria and also Spain. This house has been very famous for incest relationships. Why is that so? Well, most of the time, it's mostly related to political alliances, but also their claim of theory that marrying into other members of the royal family would preserve that pure royal blood that is for them to continue ruling the country from their supposed divine. Okay, that is not my theory, that is theirs. So, we can also take a look at the House of Habsburgs. There's a lot of inbreeding involved, which also caused several infamous inbreeding defects, including the most famous, the Habsburg jaw on Charles II of Spain, for example. So, yes, it's really a lot. But then as we move even more further, we get to Charles Darwin. Now, Charles Darwin is a British biologist who is most famous for his theory of selection and breeding on animals. But he also did research about the effects of inbreeding among humans and also to animals. But that is most likely because he is actually married to Emma Wedgwood, which is actually his cousin. So yes, he definitely does have a lot of experience in inbreeding. By the way, he did have 10 children with Emma Wedgwood. Yes. So when this sort of scientific research about inbreeding from Charles Darwin was finally released, this actually started to change a lot of the perceptions of the public society of incest relationships, thus beginning the age of the taboo of incest relationships. Now, this taboo did go on, but it most definitely exploded throughout the 19th and 20th century, where the era of conservatism and religious studies in the West, where traditional values is upheld as the most important thing, like family or the church. We can see that all the time. And so this conservative religion has directly influenced this taboo of incest relationships to be put into the minds of the generations of that particular time period. So now, as we take a look at the 21st century, the taboo of incest relations among the general public is still there. However, we start to see this genre of incest relationships to be put into Hollywood and also in media, like in literature and in movies. This creates a very close culture of sexualization of incest relationships in this time period, which unfortunately can contribute a lot of incest-related crimes. So, yes, again, if you want to know more, you can find out more in the video I did. And that's pretty much the whole entire history of it. So if we can take a look, a few questions, the people's perception of incest relationships today. Obviously, they still think it as a taboo. Why most people today discuss incest relationships? Why is the taboo still there? Well, again, scientific reasons that was made by Charles Darwin through the effects of inbreeding, and also a question of morality. Again, the taboo of incest relationships always says it is a violation of your morality. Hence, that's why this morality essence is very, very a big part of in this taboo itself. So you might be thinking, okay, if this is a taboo, then why some people do incest relationships? Well, the biggest factor, obviously, of all is romantic feelings. So they do have genuine romantic feelings towards people who are related to them. And yeah, we cannot really deny that. People wants to choose their partner, unfortunately, it's their blood-related cousins. We can't do that. So, how people are exposed to incest relationships nowadays, if we can take a look, most of it is in movies and pornography and also literature and also religion. So, pretty much the basic stuff you probably see as a teenager. Now, if we take a look for the incest relationship laws around the world, now this is for between consenting adults above the age of 18. We can see that these countries perceive it as legal. I won't say names because there's quite literally a lot. We can also see it is legal for same-sex couples, but illegal for different sex couples. Most of them say it's due to because of the effects of inbreeding. That's why they don't allow it for different sex couples to commit in incest relations. So if we can take a look at the countries that are legal, we can also see some countries also include laws of age of consent to be lowered down on the age of 18, or in the case of Israel, over 21 years old. And then there's three countries, Italy, Venezuela, and Uruguay, deems incest relationships as illegal if it causes a public scandal. That is a thing. Now, before we end this, I want to say that most Muslim countries use the religious laws, like the Sharia laws, or in the case of instance of incest relationships. Hence the reason why you see a lot of Muslim countries are in the illegal section of incest relation laws. Now, after all this, how these incest relationships is usually dealt? Well, usually at the most outward level, you can see government agencies like the hospitals or the police, or even uh, welfare agencies or family agencies usually can try and help these incest relationships. Friends and colleagues of the affected couple itself can also help to deal with these types of incest relationships. But the most closest one, and you can say the most impactful one, is the family members surrounding this couple that could help the most for these incest relationships. So, is the taboo of incest relationships still affect today's society? Yes. However, most of it is in a bad light, because you can see, again, the taboo of incest relationship has made the sexualization of incest relationships in today's media. Now, you can take forward as an example of the taboo of gay marriages or homosexuality. Now, we see that the taboo has only increased the sexualization of this homosexuality and also gay marriages in the media, particularly in the Hollywood movies. So this can also apply in incest relationships. So what it feels like to be in incest relationships? Well, this taboo of incest relationships has actually made it more tough for them to speak out, because the taboo has been so ingrained in the minds since we're young that those who are really in an incest relationships that do have genuine feelings for their blood-related partners is making more complicated for them to actually speak out, for them to not just be recognized, but just for the fact to be respected and not decriminalized through these incest relationships. So it has played a big effect on the affected couple themselves. So if you're still watching this video, I hope you're still watching. If you're still watching with a perfect mind, I just want to say this is a subject that I've actually wanted to talk about, because again, taboos are very, very interesting for me, because no one really tries to explain it. Everyone just say, oh yeah, it's a taboo, we just avoid this thing. But if we have this taboo, then we should have 0 cases of incest relationships. Hence, it should be done. But we still have incest relationships. Therefore, I do think it's necessary for us to explain these types of taboo relationships at least once in your lifetime. So before I leave, I just want to say, personally, I do not accept these type of incest relationships, because due to the logical reasons from the scientific explanation that I've just discussed, like the inbreeding and all that stuff, and plus, this incest relationships, the taboo will still be there no matter how much you try and change it. And I don't know if it's worth the risk for trying to be in these incest relationships, and then in return you get all this stress endued by yourself that only makes it tougher for you to socialize with other people, for example. That is my opinion, but however, I do say, if someone that I know is in an incest relationships, I respect their choice. Maybe if they are in a genuine relationship, that they have genuine feelings towards their blood-related partners, that they can respect amongst each other, that they can still continue a healthy lifestyle and also a healthy relationships with both of them respecting the boundaries. I can respect that. So I personally do not accept this, but I leave the choice for all of you guys to decide on who will be your life partner, whether it will be related to you or not related to you. Anyways, I just want to say thank you for watching. And again, if you want to check more of the incest related crimes, you can check a look at my video in the below description. With that, I say thank you for listening. Ciao. Okay. That was a long effort to make all these videos. Now, let's have a cup of tea. FBI, open up! Uh-oh.